Hey everybody, I want to tell you about a seat post, or at least a type of seat post, that I really favor quite a bit for my bike fits because it just makes things a whole lot easier, a whole lot more easy to control the setup of the saddle. And it just might help you in when you're messing with your own bike fit to kind of get it dialed in just right. Okay, so this is the type of seat post that I was talking about. It's a 2-bolt seat post where the 2 bolts, one is aft and one is fore. So it's a front to back adjustment. And this is just a version of it. I don't like this version quite as much because it has a thumb wheel here in the front. I prefer the version that just has basically an Allen key adjustment on the back and on the front. But I wanted to show you this one because it's actually a little tougher to adjust, and there's a couple other things you need to know about it. But first, why do I like this type of seat post with the fore and aft adjustment? The main reason is that it's because it's micro adjustable. It really allows you to dial in almost any even mildly different angle for the tilt of the saddle. And because it allows you to do this, it's pretty easy, it's pretty repeatable to get the exact saddle tilt you need or to recreate one. And you can do this a couple of different ways. You can use a digital inclinometer and set it on a flat surface and test it in the same way each time. Or you can just do like many people do is just get it close and then on rides just kind of sneak up on it by micro adjusting. So I want to show you how this works, and it's pretty simple. And the reason it is so micro adjustable is it's really easy to move the nose of the saddle either up or down in very tiny increments. Now on this seat post, because it has a thumb wheel on the front, we actually have to go about this a little differently. We have to always loosen this fastener first before we can make any adjustments to the front. But here's a simple rule, regardless of whether you have a thumb wheel or 2 Allen key fasteners here. The rule is if you want the saddle to nose down, all you need to do is you always loosen first. So you would loosen the rear fastener, either a quarter or a half a turn, whatever, if you have to go a lot or a little. And then you would tighten the front fastener the same amount. And if you want to nose the saddle up, you would have to loosen the front and then tighten the rear the same amount. Now, when you have just the Allen keys on here, you can just do that very easily. If these were both Allen keys and I wanted to nose down a little bit, I could just loosen this one a half a turn. And again, loosening, you have to look at it from underneath, would be turning this way. So I could loosen a half a turn and then just tighten the front. On this one, I won't, even if I loosen this one a half a turn, this thumb wheel is going to be too tight for me to turn with just my fingers. So what you actually have to do, if I want to nose this down, I actually have to loosen this quite a bit. I have to get it pretty loose so that I can, and you'll see the saddle start to nose down just as I loosen this. I want to make sure this doesn't come off. So there, we're pretty loose. Now, if I want to nose this down, I need to turn this thumb wheel to the right. Now, I have to look at it from this way because this fastener is threaded on this way. So I'm actually going to turn this about a half a turn. And now that's made the adjustment here. This is a half a turn tighter. And now I can just go ahead and retighten this. I'm going to fasten this seat post in the collar a little better here. And I will have effectively lowered that down just slightly. Let's say I want to nose it back up. So again, I still have to loosen this and loosen it pretty significantly. And then I would turn this thumb wheel again, but I'd have to loosen it and then retighten here. So this is a really common seat post you'll also see. It has a single bolt adjustment, and then the carriage for the seat post there, or for the seat itself, has these little index lines on them that you can see. And they actually interact with the top of the seat post. So in order to get this to work properly, what you have to do is, as you loosen the fastener, you then need to try and just get the carriage to move one index line at a time, either nose up or nose down.
And it's really can be difficult because you have to get the fastener quite loose, and so it has to be loose enough for it to allow it to move, but not so loose that it all of a sudden shifts on you, and now you've kind of lost your place and you don't know exactly what the tilt was. And these carriages are kind of soft aluminum also, and they can also kind of get jammed on there as well. Now, in a lot of circumstances, when you move this one index line, sometimes that's too much actually. Sometimes I will find that you're actually, when you move one index line, you end up too far nose up or too far nose down, and you can't find a happy medium. There's also seat posts like this. This has 2 bolts, but they're side by side. And the top of the post is smooth, and the carriage that grabs onto the seat rail, saddle rails, is also. And it is the same idea. However, because there's no index lines, it does allow you infinite adjustment. But the main problem is that, again, you have to get this pretty loose in order to move it. And if you get it too loose, it moves too easily, and so it'll often just sort of slip drastically, and now again you've lost your place. You don't know exactly where you were and if you've changed it a small amount or a large amount, so it can be really it can be difficult to control the change that you're making. So you can see why I would favor these fore-aft 2-bolt adjustments that allow you to keep things fairly change things in a fairly controlled way. We don't necessarily, we're not going to necessarily lose our way and sort of forget, lose the spot where we're at. We can just loosen one fastener a little bit and tighten the other and get a very minute adjustment to the saddle tip. So pretty simple, but something that I think you might find if you're fiddling with your bike fit, this actually might be something that helps you to kind of dial things in and really allow you to micro adjust your way to potentially a better fit, more comfortable saddle. So thanks everyone. I will see you next time.